Hi, we're here to have a quick guide to professional report writing, thinking about why your words matter. And if you think you are not involved in writing reports, anything you document, your daily logs, every single thing we put onto Care Beans, that is all report writing. These words we use are extremely important. Reports are not just notes for colleagues, they are legal records. And they may be read by managers, safeguarding teams, inspectors, or even courts. This training will help you write reports that are clear, factual, professional, and respectful, ensuring that the people we support are represented accurately and safely. There are 5 golden rules when writing professional reports. Be factual. Use clear professional language and record only what actually happened and what you saw. Avoid assumptions and guesses. Don't include personal opinions. When relevant, capture the service user's voice. Record their exact words using quotation marks. It's fine to include swear words if applicable, as long as these are in the quotation marks. Include dates, times, actions, and measurable details. Make sure the length of incident recorded at the top of the page matches the incident described below. And always protect your service user's privacy. Confidentiality must always be maintained when documenting or sharing information. A complete report should include 4 key areas. First, details. Date, time, location, who was present, and a step-by-step description of what happened. Second, actions taken. Any first aid or support provided, who the incident was reported to, and whether any emergency services were contacted. Third, the service user's voice, if relevant, the exact words spoken. And finally, the outcome. Current condition of the service user, any monitoring required, and next steps to be taken. One of the biggest challenges in report writing is the difference between opinions and facts. Subjective writing is based on personal opinion and often includes emotions or judgmental language. On the slide, you can see some examples. Service user seemed lazy. Service user was in a bad mood. I think the bruise was caused by abuse. Objective writing is the facts, based entirely on direct observation. Service user had a temperature of 38.2, bruise of 3 centimetres noted on the left wrist. Service user stated, I feel dizzy. Always record what you saw, heard or measured rather than what you think or feel. Try to avoid judgmental language. Words we don't want to be using: angry, aggressive, rude, difficult, attention-seeking. Better professional phrases include agitated, distressed, used inappropriate language, displayed physically challenging behaviour, declined support, requested frequent reassurance. And in your service, we will be sending out a physical printed out copy of some of these vocabulary guidelines that you can refer back to. Again, you can see on the slide, golden tips. Instead of service user was angry, think about what made you think he was angry. Was it something about his facial expression, his behaviours? So we may end up with a description more like service user raised voice, shouted, and hit the table with his hand. Again, instead of service user looked unwell, what made you think that? Better to write service user appeared pale, sweating, and reported feeling dizzy. We'll have a look at more examples now of professional vocabulary. Useful words to use to make sure your reports are respectful and clear. Useful words include agitated, distressed, anxious, frustrated, upset, and emotionally dysregulated. You might want to describe physical behaviours, such as pacing, clenched fists, raised voice, or tense body language. All of these terms describe behaviour without judgment. Reports should include both what the service user said and how the staff responded to try and de-escalate them. You may document raised tone of voice, refusal to engage, inappropriate language, swearing. You should also record de-escalation actions, such as providing reassurance, using calm communication, offering space, or providing emotional support. Clarify any distraction techniques used, such as change of location, putting on music, offering a snack. Use words such as staff encouraged to begin sentences. Back to confidentiality, a key responsibility. Information should only be shared when necessary to provide safe care, when the service user has given consent, or when there's a safeguarding concern. Never discuss service users in public places, share information with your friends or family or theirs without permission, leave records lying around, or post any information on social media. An example of poor practice we can see here, staff discussing the service user's health condition in the corridor when visitors were present. Good practice, staff discuss care needs in a private office to maintain confidentiality. And now we just have a quick look at some sample reports. First one, we've got a daily log. We can see times are clearly reported, service user and staff names, and practical details about the day. Information is measurable. Instead of just drank well, we give an estimation of how much. Maybe a comment on 50% of the meal was eaten instead of just some of the meal. So as specific as we can be. Moving on, further daily log advice. It's very important to ensure that the daily log is updated at various times throughout the day. Don't just wait until the end of your shift. Include as much information as you can about any activities going on, the person's mood, conversations that are taking place, who is interacting with them, facial expressions, whatever is happening at that moment. We don't just want a list of practical care tasks about food, medication, etc. And here again, we've got another sample report, this time a safeguarding incident. And the important thing here is to include as much descriptive, factual information as possible if you can give an indication of, say, size of a bruise or cut, describe any other significant features. Again, we see we've got, in this case, the words spoken by the service user in speech marks, and at the end, clear follow-up actions logged so everyone reading this report knows what's happening next. And this slide shows us some examples as a quick knowledge check from what we've talked about so far, where subjective is your opinions and guesses compared to objective, which is facts. Have a look at the 6 options and just take a moment to think whether you would be able to identify the difference. Again, this one's been made easy for you. We can clearly see some subjective phrases underlined in red. John was in a bad mood, behaving strangely, looked like he'd been hurt, trying to cause problems. These are all just examples of one staff member's opinions and should be avoided. And at the bottom, we got the 2 reports. First one, a poor example. Mary was clearly very unwell today. She looked terrible, could not manage herself properly. She was acting odd and staff were worried she might collapse. So very vague, and there's no evidence to describe exactly what it was that made us think she was unwell or odd. Professionally, we've got the exact time at 11 a.m. Mary appeared pale and unsteady. She required assistance to move from chair to bed. Mary was unable to complete personal care independently. Staff observed Mary holding her head and stating, "I feel dizzy." Everyday ethics, real life situations that you could come across and what to do to protect someone's confidentiality. Situation 1, you're on your lunch break in a cafe with colleagues. One colleague starts discussing a service user's medical condition loudly. Hopefully, this is self-evident action to take. Politely interrupt, remind the colleague you're in a public space, end the conversation immediately to protect the service user's confidentiality. And situation 2, a service user's relative asks you about their medication changes, but they're not listed as next of kin and the service user has not given consent. Again, should be clear, do not disclose information. Politely explain, due to confidentiality, you cannot share medical details without direct consent from the service user. Okay, so finally a quick summary. The professional writer's checklist. Before you save or submit your report, ask yourself, did I include exact dates, times and durations? Did I state exactly what I saw and heard rather than what I felt? Have I removed all judgmental words? Rude, difficult, aggressive? Are injuries described with measurable details, such as 4 centimetres, left forearm? Did I use exact quotation marks for the service user's voice? And are my follow-up actions clearly logged? Final reminder, your documentation is a legal record. If it isn't factual, it isn't professional.